tires on your car are all too easy to take for granted. That is until the tread wears out or you get stuck with a flat. The tires on your RV, on the other hand, require far more care and attention to ensure that your rig is kept safe. In other words, these are tires you simply can't afford to take for granted. In fact, the tires on an RV typically need to be replaced while there's still plenty of tread left. So how exactly do you know when to change them? And is there anything that you can do to ensure that they last as long as possible? We're joining John from the RV Geeks in Redlands, California, as he takes a break from life on the road to provide some insight and tips on this very topic.
RV tires need to be replaced even if the tread isn't worn out, because like all tires, it's the rubber that ages. UV, ozone, and other chemicals deteriorate the condition of the rubber and cause it to start cracking. So on an RV that doesn't drive as many miles as your typical household car, you're going to wear the tires out because of time long before the tread actually wears. How long a tire will last depends on the recommendations of the tire manufacturer themselves. So looking at any make or model of tire used on an RV, you'd want to look at the instructions given to you by the manufacturer that will say, this tire can be used for a maximum of X number of years. Typically, that's in the 7 to 10-year range these days. The only way to determine whether or not a tire is still usable is to look at the DOT date. That's a 4-digit number printed on the side of every single tire that's manufactured. And looking at that will tell you exactly what date the tire was manufactured. Those dates are usually a combination of letters and/or numbers. And the first 2 digits will tell you the week of the year, and the last 2 digits will tell you the year. There are a number of things you can do to make sure that you get the maximum life out of your tires. First, and perhaps most important, is to always make sure that you inflate them to the proper pressure. How do you know what the right pressure is? Corner weights. Every RV should be weighed at each corner in order to determine how much weight is on that tire or that axle. Then, using your tire manufacturer's tire inflation chart, you can look up to see what is the actual correct pressure to inflate that tire in order to support the load it's carrying. Another very important thing is to keep your tires protected from the sun. UV light does damage to the rubber, and while the tire includes components and chemicals in it to help protect it from exposure to ultraviolet light, keeping them covered is the best way to protect them from UV damage. Keeping them clean is another simple thing that you can do in order to help extend the lifespan of your tires. Oils and other contaminants from the road can actually age the surface of your tire faster than you'd like. So a simple wash with a simple car wash will keep those tires clean and therefore help them last that much longer. A lot of people keep their RVs stored for long periods of time because they only use them seasonally or on weekends. And if you're doing that, you want to make sure that you try and run your RV regularly, ideally at least once a month. And doing that helps to keep the sidewall of the tire flexing, and it distributes the protective components that are inside the rubber throughout the tire. Letting it sit for too long will age the rubber faster than if you run it regularly. Every tire manufacturer will have recommendations about the steps you need to take in order to make sure you can get the maximum life from your RV tires. And that may include having them periodically inspected by a professional after a certain age. Your tire may look perfectly fine to your untrained eye, but having a professional inspect it will make sure that there's nothing lurking there that could cause a problem without you realizing it. Tiny hairline cracks, spider cracks, other issues with the rubber may be something that you wouldn't think were particularly serious, but a professional will know needs to be treated and taken care of.
Whether you have a motorhome, fifth wheel, or travel trailer, tires play a central part in driving safety. Knowing how to take proper care of them and following these steps is among the most important things you can do to keep your RV rolling happily down the road. As RVers, we require the products on board our RVs to withstand the ups and downs of travel. And it's no secret that LED light bulbs are both durable and efficient. But as Steve from M4 LED points out, their lifespan is likely the biggest advantage.
Now, is there a difference that someone might expect in the length of time that an LED might last compared to the three other main types of lights?
Halogen lights have the shortest life. Halogens run so hot and they're so small they tend to burn out. And the additional thing with halogen is if you ever touch the bulb when you're going to install it, it gets the oil from your hand, it runs so hot it'll cook the oil and make the bulb fail. Incandescent lights are pretty stable, but they're power hungry. LED, the lifetime on the modules themselves are up to 50,000 hours. But it comes down to the electronics within the product. That's why we give it a better, stronger circuit to protect it from the different power on the RV.
I will say, I don't think we have ever had an LED bulb burn out, ever.
And my overall failure rate's probably about 1/4 of 1%. And that's an initial failure or failure down the road or whatever, but it's very low.
It doesn't surprise me. We have never had any problem of any kind, so I'm not surprised to hear that they're...
Can't be perfect on them either, but it's how you follow up and how you take care of it afterwards that also makes a big difference.
The benefits of converting to an LED light system seems like a no-brainer, which is why more and more RV owners are making the switch. And with their ability to last more than a decade, these bulbs are sure to keep your RV perfectly lit for the long haul. No matter the makeup of your daily life, there comes a time for all of us when a break from the routine is essential. For many, RVing offers just such a reprieve. Whether over a weekend or for weeks on end, it's a journey into the great unknown before returning to the normalcy of everyday life. Yet for some, when the RVing bug takes hold, what began as a short break from the ordinary has a way of morphing into an all-encompassing lifestyle of the extraordinary.
I'm Peter.
And I'm John.
And we're the RV Geeks.
We've been full-time RVing since 2003, and we hit the road leaving our typical 9-to-5 business jobs for the freedom of being on the road.
And we only planned to be on the road for about 2 or 3 years. We thought maybe we'd find some new great place to live. And now, all these years later, we're still out here. We can't imagine living in a sticks and bricks house again.
Not in a million years.
If life on the road promises its passengers a roomy freeway of adventure, connection, and freedom, the source of its on-ramps are too numerous to count. Whether a part-timer or a careerist, for every RVer out there, you'll hear a unique story of how they came to make that life-changing decision to plunge into RVing. For Peter and John, that decision was an especially poignant one, as it came at the tail end of another life-altering scenario.
Aside from escaping the typical corporate rat race, one of the motivations for us hitting the road full-time was a health scare.
I'm a cancer survivor, and facing a serious illness at a young age, it was an eye-opener. It made us realize that we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Life can be shorter than you expect, and we want to live every day as fully as we can. And we find out here that we've created a life for ourselves that's not necessarily traditional. It's not what everyone thinks of as being the ordinary life. We're like many working-age RVers where we travel and work at the same time. But because we have no choice but to run our own business out here, it gives us a lot of freedom. Our day job is designing websites for RV parks. And one of the things we find funniest is that our customers have no clue where we are. We could be calling them from Timbuktu or out in the middle of the desert, and they have no clue.
And now, regardless of what happens to us health-wise or otherwise, nothing can take away the time that we've had traveling around in our RV and living the way we want to live.
A life of RVing is one of endless discovery. These discoveries are surely found in the sights, sounds, and connections experienced along the way, but they can also be located in what an RVer learns about themselves. Not only have Peter and John found this to hold true in their own travels, but what they have discovered about themselves has resulted in something that they now have the opportunity to share with thousands of present and future RVers worldwide.
We shared our love for RVing with friends who ended up buying an RV because we took them out and showed them how great it was. And then they started having questions about how to dump their black tank and how to sanitize their water system and just drive and do things in general. And
we started making videos for them to try and explain what we thought would be easier to do in a video format than just talking to them on the phone.
And we kind of accidentally ended up with a very popular YouTube channel where we share how to do things on RVs. Everything from driving to maintenance to operating systems.
Technology and things that are coming up new in the industry. So we're not trained RV technicians ourselves, we just are somewhat handy. Peter's good at turning the wrenches and I'm good at pushing all the buttons, so between the two of us we can figure just about anything out.
Ever since that life-changing decision made many years ago, the RV Geeks have watched their dream of a life on the road become one of reality. They may not have predicted that their experience would inspire so many others along the way, but it's certainly not something they take for granted.
We obviously love it out here. We wouldn't have been on the road so many years. And we think that a lot of people who've thought about taking the leap might be motivated, might be inspired to do it based on what we love sharing with you. Our whole goal is to help fellow RVers be comfortable out here and to be able to do it themselves as much as possible.
If we can do it, you can do it.
One of the most appealing aspects of owning an RV is having the ability to travel to destinations near and far without having to sacrifice the comforts of home. While a weekend away can be a perfect way to reset before returning to the routine of your home life, many RVers will want to take their home on wheels to a new city, state, country, or even continent, checking off a few bucket list items along the way. Such trips are bound to spawn a lifetime of memories, but they also come at a cost. Between arrangements for campsites, fuel stops and meals, and planning activities and events along the way, not to mention the unexpected emergency that may arise, there's a lot of planning involved in these long-distance treks. Luckily, shouldering the entire burden of planning such a getaway isn't an RVer's only option. For those so inclined, taking advantage of one of Fantasy RV Tour's guided RV vacations could be the perfect way to have your cake and eat it too. In order to gain some insight into RV vacation tours, we've gone straight to the source, joining a caravan as they embark on a tour through the towering mountains, sublime glaciers, and ample wildlife in one of the most popular of all travel destinations, beautiful Alaska.
RV tour is an escorted tour with a leader and someone traveling at the end of the caravan. We call them the tail gunner couple. We travel together, not nose to nose or bumper to bumper, but we travel on the same itinerary with planned stops. We take care of the campground reservations and excursions, bus tours, boat tours, all of the highlights of any particular area. And basically, all an RVer has to do is just show up. We do the rest. All the planning is done.
John and Carol Tesley have embarked upon a number of RV tours over the years, first as guests along for the ride, later bringing up the rear of the caravan as tail gunners, and now leading the charge and spearheading much of the planning through Alaska as wagon masters. If anyone can speak to the experience of an RV tour, John and Carol are it.
I think these tours are designed for anybody who is interested in traveling, that wants to see things around the country, because we have so many different itineraries, but all the planning is done for you. It's pre-designed, all the research has been done, all the arrangements have been made. So somebody who, let's say, doesn't have a lot of time to do all the planning, but still wants to do the trip, just has to be able to get that time off of work, perhaps, or if they're retired, and just go on the trip. They don't have to spend a lot of time, not a lot of thought process has to be put into it. So you can really just enjoy your time.
This trip we're on right now, it gives you a sampling of all of these cities in Alaska. I mean, even through Canada, the Yukon, and Alaska. We hit all the major stops, all the major stops.
And we do all the major excursions, all the big things that people think about when you go to Alaska. You know, we make sure that we check off all those bucket list items.
We're doing the best of the best in those towns.
We really are.
Among the major objections an RVer is likely to have when it comes to spending their vacation as part of a caravan on a guided tour is the lack of flexibility and freedom they would be afforded. For many, the idea of being part of a caravan will provoke images of bumper-to-bumper travel, being tied to a rigid schedule, and minimal, if any, time to venture away from the group to relax or to explore the country independently. Yet, while this may be a fair assumption to make, the reality of what is offered suggests a different and far more independent experience for travelers.
A good RV tour company is going to truly make you feel welcome, and that it's your vacation, and you don't have to get up and leave at 7 o'clock in the morning. Perhaps the tour leader will leave at 7 o'clock in the morning, and most companies say you can leave in 2 or 3 hours, and then the assistant, the tail gunner, will be the last person traveling that day and will be behind you to make sure that your travel day is a good experience for you.
People might roll in a half hour after us, anywhere to 2 or 3 or 4 hours after us, depending on what kind of stops they want to take and what kind of sightseeing. So people can leave whenever they want, and that's something that they should do when they check out.
It's your vacation. I mean, we tell them it's their vacation.
That's right. So make sure that you know, you don't have to leave within a certain time or in a certain order. You know, there's different styles of travel. So make sure that you're getting a company that's going to give you some more freedom so that you can travel the way you want to.
While having a full RV vacation with meals, fuel stops, route, and all accommodations planned for you is a tremendous value in and of itself, a bigger draw for many travelers comes in the form of the activities and events on the table. Rest assured, with so much to see and only so much time to work within, Fantasy RV Tours will ensure that the best of the best are selected for their guests. For this particular trip through Alaska, RVers were taken on a guided tour through the vibrant community of Dawson City, Yukon, and an evening of entertainment at Diamond Tooth Gertie's, a showroom and gambling hall left over from the Klondike days. RVers also enjoyed a few days in beautiful Homer, Alaska, the halibut fishing capital of the world, where they were treated to a breathtaking oceanfront campsite on the Homer Spit, an excursion by seaplane to Katmai National Park for a one-of-a-kind bear-watching experience, and an end-of-day halibut fish fry courtesy of their very own wagon masters. Between these activities and the everyday sights of mountains and glaciers, opportunities for fishing and paddleboarding, not to mention magnificent moonrises and champagne toasts overlooking the water, there's certainly no shortage of beauty and excitement. Yet those on an RV tour also have access to the added perk of unique excursions not accessible to the general public.
We schedule special events There's advantages in numbers. Like today we did the Alaska Sea Life Center, and we were able to schedule a puffin experience, which was done as a private type of presentation that the public normally doesn't get. So that's something that if you walked in as an individual, you wouldn't have that opportunity, whereas we were able to do that as a group. So those kinds of things present themselves on a caravan, whereas as an individual, you may not get to do that.
Meaningful experience for so many is something that you will hold on to long after the final days of your trip have come to an end. Something you will carry with you into your future adventures, both near and far.
I think the most important and the thing is the friendships that we've made. We have people that before this tour started were total strangers, and they're inviting us to come visit all over the country, and it's just so wonderful. We formed such a wonderful bond with so many people.
I would say in all certainty we've met a couple of other couples that will for sure be lifelong friends.